Local Edge, powered by Ad Canada Media.
Hi everyone, and welcome to The Local Edge, your show for better understanding and connecting with small communities in Canada. Here, we bring you the latest news, insights, and trends from the world of local advertising and marketing. I'm your host, Shawna Randolph. Very pleased to be here with you today. On today's show, we're focusing on Local Runs Deep. What does that mean? You're going to find out. We're going to hear from a local publisher in Saskatchewan, and he's going to be joined by two people who've been truly impacted by the local edge in their community. Sit back, relax, enjoy.
Camps for kids are slightly more popular in Alberta than next door in Saskatchewan. Albertans spend an average of $120 on camps, than Saskatchewan's average of $75 per household. For targeted data like this and to get a better understanding of connecting with local markets, please visit adcanadamedia.ca.
We are focusing on Moosomin, Saskatchewan. Kevin Weedmark is the editor and publisher of the World-Spectator. Kevin is no stranger to our podcast. Many of you may recognize him. He appeared back in our first episode. Tyler Thorn is owner of Celebration Ford, and he's been advertising with Kevin's newspaper since he bought it back in 2002. Kevin is also a notable leader and is the president of the Community Builders Alliance. And Wendi Lynd is with the Moosomin and District Healthcare Foundation. She has a very interesting and recent story that we're going to focus on that involves her foundation when we get to her here in our discussion. Welcome, all three of you, to The Local Edge.
Thank you, Shawna.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay, Kevin, let's start with you. Quickly, for those who don't know, just give us a lowdown on the World-Spectator, your company.
The World-Spectator is a newspaper that's been around since 1884. Our first issue came out October 2nd, 1884. And after all that time, we're still growing. We take a bit of a unique approach in the media business. We see ourselves as a community service first and a business second, and that seems to have worked for us and helped us grow.
And then with you as well, you're heavily involved in the community. Some people may call you the King of Kensington, per se. See you down the street. Hey.
I also run the local Chamber of Commerce and do everything I can to promote the community.
All right. Tyler, your auto business has been a fixture in Moosomin for so many years.
That's right. We haven't been around quite as long as the World-Spectator, but I'm a second generation Ford dealer. My dad bought the dealership back in 1980. I became his partner in 2000, bought him out in 2006. In 2014, we moved into our brand new location adjacent to the Trans-Canada Highway. We're 43 years in business. We employ about 30 people in town, and it's been a great community to be a part of.
And Wendi, how long has the Moosomin and District Healthcare Foundation been going on in that community?
Well, it started probably back with the first hospital that we had was 1993 was the foundation. The first hospital was built, I believe, in, let me just check there, 1905 actually was the first hospital. So the foundation's been going since 1993 and then became Moosomin District Healthcare Foundation just recently in 2003. So we've been going for a little while. Okay. Not as long as Kevin.
Not as long. Okay, we're going to hear more from you in a sec, Wendi. I want to focus first of all with Kevin and Tyler. Tyler, specifically, as mentioned, you've been advertising with the World-Spectator for like 20 years or so now. A heavy advertiser as well, quite prominent. How much of the relationship with the paper has really helped your business?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the relationship between Celebration Ford and the World-Spectator predates both Kevin and I. My dad would have had a relationship with John Mean and Bruce Penton before Kevin took over, and I think one of the probably the first ads Kevin sold me was the banner ad on the front page, bottom of the front page of the paper, which I've got the paper on my desk. We still have that spot, so that's 20 years plus, 52 weeks a year we've ran that spot and continue to do so. So, obviously if the World-Spectator wasn't a good quality product, they produce a great paper every week. We wouldn't continue to hold that spot in the paper. Other spots, but that one is our most prominent ad. So, Obviously, it pays dividends for us, or we wouldn't do it, right? So, but yeah, it's just been a fantastic relationship for a lot of years.
How do you know, Tyler, that an ad is working? People come in and refer to it specifically, seeing it in the paper?
Yeah, 100%. We, it happens, I'd like to say weekly. Somebody will come in and say, "Hey, I saw that truck, that you have on sale on the front page of the paper." That's how we know it works, right? You get feedback from your customers on a weekly basis.
Kevin, is this the type of relationship with your advertisers common? I would assume so.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate. We have a lot of long-term advertisers, a lot of people who are in the paper every single week, and that's helped us grow. So now, in addition to the World-Spectator, we also have Plain and Valley, which is a regional paper that hits 28,000 households, and Celebration Ford is also in every issue of that. And we have another publication called Ag News that hits the agriculture boxes in the region. And all three publications are there and are solid and are growing because we've got very supportive advertisers who are committed to us for long term.
Tyler, have you ever kind of thought, what would I do if I didn't have this newspaper to advertise in?
Yeah, it would, I've never thought of that. That would certainly, that would certainly create some challenges, I think, getting the word out locally. That's a great question, but I can't imagine not, having the World-Spectator around to run our ads in weekly.
Right. Well, you don't have to worry about that, as is we're seeing here with our discussion here today. Okay, now I want to bring Wendi into this discussion here. First of all, setting something up here. It's about a story in the community that actually was well promoted throughout the province here, about a local man. His name's Levi Jameson, how he was badly in need of a CT scan, something that just wasn't possible in that community for the longest time to even dream of. But then, Kevin, an article was published in your paper, one of your reporters, the World-Spectator, in July of this year that opened doors. Can you please fill us in on that?
Yeah, actually, it was unfortunate that brought awareness to the community about how much we needed a CT scanner, and we've needed it for a long, long time. Kevin was really good at getting to the heart of the story and sharing that. And one of Kevin's advantages for us in the community is his research ability. So he was able to push some buttons and get some local government at all levels aware of the situation. And he also did a lot of research for us on the numbers that are in our community and our demographics here. So that opened some eyes to the government level too of what our community needs and how widespread we are. And we have a really good physician base. So it was just a matter of time till I think the government realized we are important. And Kevin, he keeps on these stories and he keeps his finger in the pulse. So luckily for the foundation and the community, he has kept this story going, and hopefully soon we'll hear some positive confirmations from the government.
So
Kevin, what is your perspective on your side? How this came about? What happened after that story was published?
Well, with the CT scanner, there was sort of a few steps to it. We had done a story a few weeks ago where we had looked back at we had looked at the CT scanner usage around the province and found the largest wait times were in the southeast part of the province, and found that Moosomin had more people within 100-kilometer radius than some communities that already have a CT scanner. So that seemed to hit home with the government. Then we actually have a brilliant young reporter, Ashley Bocek, who had done the story on Levi. Levi had decided he had been in an accident where he lost the use of his legs, and he decided to donate to the CT scanner. She did an article on him. After that article came out, we spoke to the Premier and the Health Minister the day after it came out. Both of them had read it. Both of them, had talked about what a inspiration Levi was. And then a week after that interview, last Thursday, the health minister was in Moosomin meeting with the Healthcare Foundation and touring the healthcare facility, seeing where a CT scanner would go. So I think we just it was credit to Levi for making that donation, for bringing it top of mind, and we just helped get the word out. We have an amazing community full of amazing people, and all we do is just help spread their stories, and then things seem to fall into place.
Yeah, and Wendi, you were just touching on how much of an impact this had on your foundation and the community.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as something like this happens, I think the foundation realizes it right away through donations, local donations. So Levi was going to donate towards the CT scanner, and then that just sort of starts a domino effect in our community. And we have more people aware of it, and realize that how it could happen to them and their loved ones. So thanks to Levi and all the community that's been supporting the CT scanner project to date. So,
Tyler, as a longtime advertiser, share your thoughts about the impact on this. What are you thinking?
Well, the work that Kevin and his team do on projects or initiatives like CT, you can go back, through the years, and there's so many of these things that he brings to light. One that sticks out in my mind, not just for Moosomin but for the region, was the coverage he did on the census issue a few months ago, where we had some recounts done and whatnot. That he just does such a great job of bringing these issues to the forefront with the folks in Regina or Ottawa, that matter and can make change. And and for a business owner in the community, it's pretty important to have those things happen, right? To help grow the community. So he just does a great job. Him and his team do a great job of reporting on these types of issues and projects.
Kevin, I'm curious, what is the census issue? What happened there?
On the census issue, we had done some reporting around the census numbers in Moosomin and surrounding communities, because when we first looked at the 2021 census, the numbers didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Moosomin was the fastest growing community before the previous census, but then this showed it sort of flatlining when we know that there's massive growth going on. There's new homes being built. There's expansion. So we looked at it, and we asked the towns around here to give us, their counts of households based on things like their utility bills and their property tax bills. And we found that StatsCan's household numbers were in some cases hundreds lower than what the towns knew to exist. So we uncovered that. The town of Moosomin put in a formal application for a review of the census, and StatsCan came back and upped Moosomin's population by a few hundred, and that means Moosomin's getting about 100,000 more in provincial revenue sharing alone until the next census because of the recount. And there's many other towns around here that are the same situation. I mean, Esterhazy is a nearby town that's booming with potash, and StatsCan said they had 300 empty houses, and then the mayor will tell you they don't have 3. So all of these towns have been able to have these numbers revised, and it's made a difference for those communities. It'll make a big financial difference for them.
So Wendi, of course, Tyler kind of brought this one up as an example of how he's impressed with coverage in the business community. But what about you, the nonprofit world, and seeing the type of coverage Kevin's newspaper has?
Yeah, it's been great. We do twice a year, we try to do a Get Involved section. And in that section, we post a little donation area. And right from as soon as it's posted, either in our regional paper or in our local paper, we see funds donated from that. And they come from all across Canada. We get some from the States. So people are obviously reading it and paying attention. So Get Involved's really helped us. And as far as all our fundraising and different groups that we put on, Kevin's been really good. Anytime anybody wants to make a donation, Kevin's there taking the story for us and his staff. So it's been noticeable right away. And even social media, like with his postings right away, it's kind of nice to have that news out immediately. Then we don't have to wait for the weekly paper. We can get more details when that comes out. So we see an impact right away from Kevin and the World-Spectator.
Kevin, 2 things here. The section that she was just talking about that is very beneficial. How does that all work, your community section?
It's called Get Involved, and we do one in the spring and one in the fall. And initially we thought of this as just, something to get, kids signed up for minor ball and things like that, or for minor hockey in the fall. But it turned into an entire section where churches advertise, community groups organize or advertise, service clubs. And it's a way of them sort of getting their message out into the community and letting people know where support is needed, where help is needed. And in a small town, when people see a need, that need gets filled. When people know that if people need volunteers, if they need donations, as soon as they see that need, they're there to fill it.
And then secondly, Kevin, Wendi is quite impressed with your use of social media to promote your stories.
Yeah, when there's an event coming up, we just had a massive event at our regional park this weekend. We had a fireworks competition. And when we promote an event like that, we're making the posters, we're making the tickets, we're putting the ads in the paper and in our regional paper. And then we'll also do a lot of coverage on social media, especially the few days leading up to it, to just remind people and get the word out. And I think all of those things together help to make successful events.
Tyler, as president of the Community Builders Alliance, what's your view on that?
Again, it's the work that they do to promote the community and the region, in so many different ways, whether it's events, upcoming events, or reporting on them, after the event has taken place. Not only just the reporting, they're there, right? The Spectator, Kevin, or his staff are at these events, taking pictures. A couple of months ago, Kevin and I were, sat at the same table at the Fleming Pie auction, right? We were buying pies together and bidding each other up, probably. And
I think you outbid me on a couple of
them. So, it's just so important. And then again, the stories, the important stories that they write, are read in Regina around the legislature. We've got feedback from different MLAs that by Tuesday, that if there's an important story in his paper, it's made its way through the ledge, and the MLAs and the ministers have read the story and are familiar with it. That the power of the press, right? It's incredible, the coverage and the promotion we get, that all sort of stems from the World-Spectator.
Kevin, many times on our show here, we've talked about this perspective that rural newspapers are struggling these days. We definitely hear it, and it's been shown in the larger market, the big corporations. But I'm just hearing from all of you, this is a pure example that is just not the case here locally.
We're just lucky here that we've got a really supportive community and a really supportive business community. And I think there's nothing magic here. I think any paper could do what we're doing here. And that's, our thought is we put the community first. We're here to serve the community. We're here to try to promote the community in every way possible. And when you do that, we're still growing. I look at our financial statements every year we're growing, and we're about 5 times the paper now, the business now, than we were 20 years ago. We continue to grow and continue to get more readers, and I think the secret is simply putting the community first.
Okay, so my last question, I don't even have to ask Kevin because I know what he'd say. He pretty much just said it. But to you both, Wendi and Tyler, how important is it having local people running the local paper? How important is that to you? Starting with you first, Tyler.
That's key to any business, I think. And, we see in this day and age, we see a lot of, businesses locally that don't have local ownership per se. And, they're still good businesses, and they still create jobs, and they still provide the services we need, but it's just not quite the same, when you don't have local ownership. And I think that's a huge asset for us in the community that Kevin is, he lives here, and as opposed to, some company in Toronto owning the paper and just, having some staff here running it. You just don't get the same passion that you do when the guy that's signing the paychecks is in the office every day.
Right. And Wendi.
Yes, exactly. The passion is for sure. And Kevin and his staff, not only local, but they also contribute back locally. They're supporting lots of nonprofit and lots of events that are going on in our community. So, we can't do that without him. And he really steps up. He's like our number one communication in our local community and surrounding area, and it's a big area that he covers. So we appreciate him, and he's like they're like our tourism office in our local community too. So it's a benefit to everybody.
That's what I'm hearing. And thank you, all three of you, for giving us this Saskatchewan perspective on the impact of local newspapers on the community. Special thanks to Kevin Weedmark, having you on again. He is the editor and publisher of the World-Spectator. Tyler Thorn, the owner of Celebration Ford in Moosomin, and Wendi Lynd with the Moosomin District Health Care Foundation.
Thank you, Shawna.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Textbooks and school supplies are an expense that most Canadian families can relate to, with an average of $225 per household each year. For more targeted data like this and to get a better understanding of connecting with local markets, please visit adcanadamedia.ca.
Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today on The Local Edge. Again, I'm your host, Shawna Randolph. For additional information and extended interviews, be sure to subscribe to The Local Edge podcast on any of the major platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google, and more, whatever works for you. Also, check out our website. It is adcanadamedia.ca. And don't hesitate to tell your friends, business colleagues, everybody, spread the word. Thank you again for joining us on The Local Edge. See you next time.
This series is proudly produced by the team at Road 55. Road 55 creates content that connects. For more information, check our website, www.road55.ca.